Coach Bev. Hi, I'm Coach Bev. I'm from Regal Awakening Educational Coaching Systems. I coach you as you coach your kids into reaching their goals using the knowledge and skills that I have gained as a parent and veteran educator. Today, I have a topic that I have been wanting to talk about for a very long time, and that topic is Black boys failing in school. But before we get started on this topic, I would like to do my coffee corner. I am so excited to do my coffee corner this time because if you have been watching the videos, you would notice that I had stopped. But my son has a friend, and every time he gets the opportunity to speak to me, he would say, "Bring back the coffee corner, bring back the coffee corner." And eventually it started to set in and hit home. So I started to feel like, well, perhaps there is something to the coffee corner. Maybe that is something that I need to continue. So we are back with the coffee corner. And today I have a coffee that I went and selected from Trader Joe's. And the name of it is Shade Grow Ethiopian. I do not have to tell you that the Ethiopian is a major part of the reason that I wanted to try this coffee. I'm always excited to try just about anything that I can from Africa in an attempt to gain back some of the culture that I feel I have missed out on. So I have ground the beans and I have made a cup of this great Ethiopian coffee and I am going to give it a taste. Mm. It is very good. This coffee is very good. It has a distinct taste. You could taste a little citrusy type flavoring. I really do like this coffee. It's good, and I hope that you don't mind if I sip occasionally through the video. hmm That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Black boys failing. It is a hot topic when you think about educational systems. And if I may be honest here, it is definitely a um, caveat when you think about the educational system. Um, it's a major component of a lot of discussions. I have turned on the news and I have seen community leaders discussing the black boys are failing and it's not right and it's not fair. And so I just feel like I would like to put my spin on it and give my opinion since I am actually in the classroom and I have been in the classroom for 17 years. I am in the process of completing my 17th year, getting ready to anxiously start my 18th year in education. So while I may not be a doctor or have a lot of numbers and statistics, I do have things to say. Um, Being a mother of three boys, I definitely feel as if I have the right to speak on this topic. In addition, I work with black boys every day. I have always wanted to work with black boys. I have taught in Title I schools. I have taught in suburban schools. And I will tell you that my favorite school to work in is the Title I kids. And I want the kids that are high risk, academically challenged, and lack motivation. Because as an educator, it is the challenge that lies within me to help them to get it right. So I love and prefer Title I kids. The class that I teach, technology education, is also a class that is heavily taken by boys. is currently on the engineering track. So if the child is taking Project Lead the Way, they may start with my class, Technology, Engineering, and Design. In this class, I have had all levels of kids: autistic, Asperger's. I hope I said that correctly. At risk, high functioning, high levels. I have come into contacts with all levels of kids, all most races, um, different levels of education, different levels of appreciation for education. So I definitely have some knowledge to back up the things that I am going to say, even though it may not fit into the data that society is typically looking for in terms of validating information. I'm going to just let my 17 years speak for me. Now, I would like to start off this discussion by saying that because I feel so strongly about this topic, I am going to be Coach Bev, but you may sense that there are some feelings that I have about the situation. And in order for me to speak on it the way that I want to speak on it, my honesty is required. My honesty may not sit well with a lot of you, but that's okay. This is my channel. And currently, we're in the growing phase. So if you disagree, I'm definitely going to respect your opinion, but otherwise, I'm going to state my truth. Everyone blames the school system. Everybody blames the school system. It's the schools, it's the teachers, it's the schools, it's the teachers. They need to do this. They need to do that. The boys are always getting suspended. The boys are always in ISS. Those are the things like if you were to look at the news and the different things that people have to say, you would definitely get a feel that there is an agenda against black boys. However, most of the people that are making these statements are people that are on the outside looking in. And if you were to look at this statistically from a numerical point of view, yes, there is some validity to what they are saying. However, we know that everything is not black and white, and there is definitely some gray areas when it comes to the topic of black boys getting suspended and kicked out of school disproportionately to other races of kids. I would like to make the statement concerning that issue is, first of all, come into a school, walk into the schools, do a tour, sit there, go into the classes, and you will start to get an idea more of the reasoning of why this takes place. Um, Unfortunately, a part of my job is to come into contact with a lot of black boys that are failing. I get a lot of them that's in the ninth grade, and um, their GPAs are not where I would desire for my son's GPA to be. Their GPAs are indicative of kids that do not have any plans or goals to attend post secondary education. And if they did have a thought about it, their GPA would definitely be a hindrance to that process. I tell my students all the time that all you need to do is tell me your GPA, and I can tell you basically what type of student you are. If you have a GPA on the scale of a 4.0 to a 1, and if you have students who have a 1, that is an indication that the child has a grade average of a D. A 4 is an A 3 is a B, a 2 is a C, a 1 is a D, and of course there are some with a zero point 0.5 or less GPA. um, before they even begin the race of completing their high school careers and going to the next level in life, they already have a challenge. A low GPA indicates that the child is not learning the skills and gaining the knowledge that is intended. A lot of the kids in school feel that the things that they do in school is redundant, and I get a lot. What does building websites have to do with me working in the real world? Okay, first of all, you are living in a digital world. Your whole world is a website. Everything you do on your phone is a computer program. But even if you don't need to take the history class or you don't feel the need for the English class, which I certainly do, then the you're going to need this information and this knowledge in order to pass the SAT. And it's also going to factor into your GPA, which is going to have a long term effect on your future and your goals. So this is an issue that I run into constantly with our boys, and it's hard to see. Um, I give them college research so that they could get an understanding of what it would actually take to get into college. Because a lot of kids, and this is across all races, just think that they're just going to put in their applications in the 11th and 12th grade, and voila, they're just going to get accepted into college. So I take it upon myself to educate them on the goals that they need to reach in order to obtain that goal. Another issue that I see with the black boys failing disproportionately in schools, and this one, it does make me feel a certain kind of way. The boys, typically, a lot of them, more than I care to admit, are caught up in sports and they don't see the need of an education. When I do college research, a lot of them will tell me, I will go to college if I get a scholarship. What college do you want to go to? Whatever college I get a scholarship at. Now, this just really, we all know, okay. We all have great kids that could do sports. Now, I'm not a sports mom. I've never really been into the sports, and I I prefer academics over sports, and there's a lot of reasons. One of the reasons, a lot of people that's coaching those Pop Warner teams, they're not really doing it for the glory and to pull out what they can out of the kids. Um, they are doing it for their own social, pat myself on the back glory. And that's just the way I feel about it, because I can see the same kids on the football field at football practice, and I know that they're having problems in school, but I haven't seen one coach come in to check on that child. And even if they know that the child is having problems in school, if the child is a good enough football player, they get the opportunity to continue to play. They rarely sit them out. And I'm not saying that this is all of the coaches, but if the child is good enough and great and can win games, the coach is less likely to give them any type of interference in what's going on in school. So to me, it's all hypocritical. I really don't. I'm just not into the sports to that nature. We also, even though your child may be great and marvelous in sports, there are the likelihood that the child actually uses that skill to go to college is slim. The number is very low for the kids that actually go get drafted onto a college field to play football, and then a lot of them have dreams of going to the NBA or playing for the NFL. And we all know the likelihood. What is that, 2 or 3% of people that actually makes it onto those teams? And even though your child may be like marvelous, there's the competition out there is so stiff. And if you don't have the money to invest in that type of training or the skills to give your child that type of athletic training that's required for them to play on that level to prepare them, they're still running a low risk of even lower risk of making it to that next level. Also, most of those teams that the kids say that they want to go to college and play for, if they had to use their knowledge and skills that they have earned in school to take the SAT to get into those schools, even if they were Terrell Owens or Ocho Cinco, two of my favorite players, and I don't even watch football, but those two are my favorite. But even if they could play on that level, could they pass the SAT to get into those top schools that they see on TV and that they long to play for? If their GPA is a 1 and in a 0 point, what's the likelihood of them actually getting drafted into Carolina, Duke, what's that, Alabama, Clemson, these other schools that they sit and cheer for on the TV every day? A lot of them don't know what a HBCU is. When I ask what's a HBCU, I have to explain to them that a HBCU is a historically black college and university. And in order to try to help them have different ranges and just have exploring different options in terms of them exploring that avenue and getting their education. I didn't mean to go off onto that long tangent, but I'm gonna play sports, and if I can use, if your child is going to use sports to get to the next level, I am for it. I am for it. Let me specify that. If the child is, I've seen great student athletes, black boys that are balanced, that have the grades, the discipline, come to class, do their business, and be good on the field. I've seen those. Okay. Unfortunately, not as much as I've seen the other. But if your child is going to use any sport to get them to the next level, but of course, but I think it should be a package. Make it a package. Don't make it just about the sport. Make it athleticism and education, with education being number one, because we all know that all it takes is one injury, and then what is the child going to do? Now, I have 7 points, and I didn't mean to make this introduction as long as I did, but I'm going to try to quickly do the 7 points. But if I run too long, then of course, I guess you have to do what you have to do, right? Okay, sports related or not, okay? Now we're just getting back to black boys failing, all right? We're getting back to black boys failing. And I would like to make my first point, and it is one that resonates through the educational community, but it's not the most popular topic. And I have yet to hear anybody make this statement in terms of our kids failing in school. And that is, take responsibility for your parenting. Period. Okay? A lot of what we see going on in our schools is parenting. It's parenting. If your child is raised in a household where they respect you and they have manners and they have a work ethic when they come to school, that is going to They're going to have manners and respect. I tell my students all the time, there is no way that you can respect your mom at home and come to school and disrespect me, the principal, and any other woman, okay? Because it's just not. That respect transfers, and you can immediately tell when you call a child's name, what? What? Ooh, that one burns me up, okay? Respect and manners. Now, if the child is at home saying yes or yes, ma'am, when you call them in school, they're going to say yes. They're not going to go from yes, ma'am, or yes to what? The Bible says that we should raise our children up in the way that they must go. And whether you believe the Bible to be true or not, it is, and the word lives. You have a responsibility as a parent to train up your child in the way that they must go. If you buy a puppy and if you take the time to walk that puppy on schedule, feed it on schedule, crate it, or whatever method it is that you're going to use, you're not going to wait until that puppy is 2 years old to try to house train it. You're going to immediately start training that puppy what it needs to do so that by the time it's 2 years old, the training is done. The dog can go grab the leash and go walk to the door and let you know that it needs to go to the bathroom or it wants to be walked. Now, the likelihood of you training that dog at the age of 2 or 3 is possible, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging than if that puppy had gotten those skills at immediately from the time that you got it. You get the point? The same goes with kids, okay? You when they're little and when they are young, that is when we are putting values, ethics, morals, character in our kids. Not when they turn 13, 14, and then we don't like what we have and now we want to try to change it. No, the bread is done. I like to say that. I like to use that statement. The bread is done, okay? It's like baking a loaf of bread. Once the bread is done, it comes out. If you continue to cook it, you're going to ruin the bread. Okay? There just comes a point when you have to take the bread out the oven and eat it. If you continue, it's you get the point. Now, once a child is the 12, 13, 14, the values and the skills and the ethics and the morals and the character that you have instilled into your child is there, in addition to the things that they have observed through your behavior. So once we get up into, we didn't raise them to going into point two, instilling the importance of an education. Point number two, okay? We didn't raise them to value in education. When the child is in elementary school and they can't read in third grade, you're not gonna hold my child back. When you're not, no, if my child can't read and do math in third and fourth grade, we need to do what we can to get this right, but we're definitely not going to continue to pass them through school so that, no, we're going to make sure this is the foundation that the child is getting for value of their education. Instill early. Raise your child up in the knowledge of the value and importance of getting an education. Point three, hold the child accountable. It is unfortunate the amount of times that I have been held accountable for a child's willingness to complete their work. And the parent will call the teacher and ask the teacher, why aren't they doing their work? I don't know. why your child is not doing their work. Perhaps you may need to have a discussion with the child to work through that. You know, hold the child accountable. Holding your child accountable does not in any way reduce the amount of love that you have for that child. Ensure that the child is doing what they're supposed to do. Um, I have students that have had, I have had in the past students that came to class and went to sleep all day. I called home. I spoke to administration. Mom is like, I don't know what to do. Can you recommend him to the psychiatrist? No, I can't recommend your child to the psychiatrist. Yet and still, the child comes to class and sleeps every day, but the child has a cell phone and the child has earpods. Um, some of the best dressed kids, Jordans, Beats, iPhones, but I don't understand why the child has these privileges and they're not doing their schoolwork. I'm confused on that. Where is the accountability? You call home. Yeah, some parents, I end up coaching the parents. When I call, they just break down. They just can't take it anymore. Um, I've had a parent I've called and the child took the phone away from her mother. That hurt me deeply. The mom is so I'm afraid to call home now, you know, because again, the raising up of the child in the way that he must go. Because the child is supposed to learn early on that they don't challenge your authority. Now, the accountability is a major piece that I noticed that is missing. And I finding myself in the classroom having to instill that principle into a lot of the kids to accept accountability for their work and not doing their work. Okay? The fourth point that I would like to make about this Black boys failing is help them to come up with a dream and and work through the steps with them. Help them to understand that this is a major part of what you need to obtain. We can't neglect this. We need to make sure that if you're going to reach this goal, we're going to have a plan that we are going to work on and work through. And again, this takes time and energy. It takes time to be a parent that's involved and that's there for the child. It takes a lot. Going to the school for conferences and what's going on. Why is he not performing as he should? What do I need to do? It takes time to do that. I've even had my own children to say, Ma, it is a lot of work for you to, you know, come up to the schools and things like that. But I tell them I don't have any choice because my goal is to see your success. And you just have to put that time and energy into your child. Help them along the way. They don't really know and understand the way without your guidance. They're feeling their way. So it is necessary sometimes that you step out of friend mode and step into parent mode and do what you have to do for the good of the child. Okay? So be involved in helping them plan for their futures. Okay? In addition to helping them plan for their future. And I kind of spoke on it in point 4. You have to monitor them. Um, Even I have had to find different ways to do some monitoring on my fourth grader. He requires a little bit more monitoring than the previous kids. So I have had to find a way to monitor him a little bit more closer. I would hope that I wouldn't have had to, but he is showing signs that he may need a little bit more close monitoring. So I have developed a plan to email the teachers every Friday and inquire, how is he doing? Is he missing any work? Is there a test that need to be made up? You don't have to respond to this email if, and I will understand that everything is fine. But if there's something that I need to know, I'd appreciate if you would take the time to let me know. And I'm feeling that that is something that I am needing to do. I have a calendar set on my phone. So every Friday about 9 o'clock, I can email that teacher. You have to monitor them. If depending on your child, you may not have to do any monitoring. My son that's 20 years old, that's in college, I did not have to. Um, he just made it look so easy. He did his work. He made the A's and the B's in my household. You can't make below a C without consequence. He always maintained that standard. He did his work. The work was turned in. But my oldest child was more of a challenge. I had to go to the schools. I had to, oh, she was the challenge. She was the challenge. And I'm sensing that my fourth grade is offering me the same challenge that my oldest child did. But we're going to get through that one as well. Okay? Now, monitor the child. That's a part of parenting. It's not fun, but you got to think about the long run. What's going to work in the long run? Okay, my 6th point is, oh my, Power School. Now, I don't know what it's called where you live, but here in North Carolina, it is called Power School. Okay? Now, this is a web application that you can log into. There is an app that is on your phone. You can install the app on your phone. And anytime you open up that app, you can see your child's grades in real time. A lot of parents evidently don't know about this Power School app, because when I call home, a lot of times they're shocked. They don't know that their child is failing. Ma'am, all you got to do is call the front office and get a password, and you will know every single grade that your child has in real time. And it's also funny that a lot of parents at the end of the quarter, right before grades are due, somehow manage to get access to those grades and want to make contact at the end of the quarter when grades are due. And now we are finishing up the quarter, and we've been asking the kids for work for 2 weeks. And now the grades are in the process of being finalized, and you're just realizing that your child is failing. Please get Power School or whatever app your district employs to ensure that you stay abreast of your child's grades. I don't know if your district is still giving out paper progress reports, but you got to stop depending on those. Your child is not going to readily and willingly bring home a paper that says they're failing and just hand it to you. Get Power School, okay? Just trust me on that, all right? Now, the last one that I want to speak on, I don't think too many of them were popular, but I know that in the African American community, that ADHD is not a popular topic. I already know this, but since it's my video, I'm going to discuss it anyway because I feel like it needs to be discussed. Yes, I do believe that ADHD is real. Yes, I do. All of the food, all the chemicals and stuff that's going into this food today, we don't know what we're getting. All type of stuff, vaccinations, all different type of things that these kids have to endure. All right. And I'm not trying to say that vaccinations give kids ADHD. That is not what I am saying. I'm just saying that we have so many chemicals going into our bodies. We really don't know how they affect us completely and totally. How many COVID vaccines have been created since the first one? What are we on, 4 or 5? I think I've lost count. How many chemicals would we have if we have gotten every single booster shot that has been passed out just in the last year? And I am a believer that you really don't know about a medication unless it's been out for about 20 years so that they can research it as with anything that we put into our bodies. So we really don't know. But the point of the matter, the point is, if your child is showing indication that they may have ADHD, they can't focus, they can't function, the teacher is calling about disruptions, and the teacher is telling you that this is going on and this is going on, and the same teachers have been telling you the same thing for 5 years, have them checked at the least. Discuss it with your doctor. Discuss it with your doctor and see if there is something that you can help you use to help your child function. You just check. You don't, just because you ask the doctor doesn't mean that you have to put the child on medication. However, I would like to personally speak to the effectiveness of the proper dosage of ADHD medication. And that's all I'm going to say about that. This video went a little bit longer than I normally like to go. But if you are still with me at this point, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I can be found on Instagram at Regal Awakening, Facebook Regal Awakening, and of course my YouTube channel. If you like the content that we are discussing on this channel, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you hit that bell, you will get a notification every time I post a video. I am Coach Bev, and I thank you so much for taking the time to discuss Black boys failing in school with me. And I would just like to leave you on this note. We definitely can make a difference in our kids' lives. Our kids are kings. They are able. They have the ability. All they need is just a little nudge, some proper parenting, motivating, and preparation. And we can get our boys on the right track. It is not a lost cause. Coach Bev.